Hello and welcome back, everyone. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're celebrating Fibonacci, as in the Fibonacci series. It's Fibonacci Day, a day late in my case. I am recording it on Fibonacci Day, but posting it late. I'll admit it totally slipped my mind, which I'll explain and provide a valid excuse for a moment. But clearly, on a Fibonacci Day, you've got a very typical scene in the Sleuth household here, with Sleuth sitting down by the fire on a cozy chair, thinking very clearly about the Fibonacci series. No. Now, my excuse for kind of forgetting about today, and also not necessarily just Fibonacci Day, happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends that regularly view this channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day with your families as well. Now, the reason I kind of forgot about both days and I just wasn't paying attention is for like a little while now, I've been planning a Christmas special. And I'll tell you essentially what I've been thinking is 12 puzzles. Think, 12 days of Christmas, which is supposedly the period of time that it took the three wise men to travel and visit the baby Jesus. And my thinking is essentially based on the song, The 12 Days of Christmas. I'm sure if I kind of repeat it, you'll very quickly come up familiar with sort of the lyrics, on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge tree. So essentially, I've been sort of digging around in puzzles online, trying to find somewhat successfully, not entirely successfully, and this is why I'm bringing it up now, in the hope that you guys might be able to point me towards puzzles that should be kind of very thematic with the lyrics at least. So I'd say reasonably comfortably I found something to do with pear trees, partridge in a pear tree. They're all going to be a bit of a stretch, let's be fair. I think I found something to sort of represent turtle doves. It's a dove, we'll take it. Then we've got, I have crazy bird. What's the third day of Christmas? I looked at it and I'm pretty sure, four calling birds. No, that's fourth day. Three hens. Yeah, so I was thinking about French hens, and I came across a couple of things that were somewhat related to French hens. One of them was quite the stretch. Chicken nugget sandwich. So make of that what you will. Four calling birds. I'm pretty solid on that. 5 gold rings. Again, got that covered. Milkmaids, maybe. Dancing ladies, not really. Yeah, I've got kind of dancing, that's kind of thematic. Let's see, what else have I got in there? But there was one day, I think, that more than anything stood out as I just couldn't, I couldn't come up with anything that was remotely resembling 7 swans are swimming. So I looked for swans, I looked for geese. Sorry, 7 swans are swimming, excuse me. 6 geese are laying. So I looked for geese, I've looked for swans, I've looked for ducks. And, a laying, I may do something that's around eggs. But if you can think of any kind of puzzle that is somewhat related to 6 geese a laying, all ears, would love to see that in the comments. But that aside, hopefully something that will be relatively thematic and a bit more decorative as well. That's enough of an introduction because that's nothing to do with today's puzzle, which is all about Fibonacci. So let's take a look at today's puzzle and what we have in store for today. So well done, Jobo, for actually posting the puzzle on Fibonacci Day. And we've got relatively straightforward set of rules and, a Fibonacci series spiral that you can clearly see 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 30, 34, 55, 89, 144. So very much a thematic thing. And the following set of rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row. Ironic that I picked a row with 1 to 9 already in there. Every column as well, and every 3 by 3 box, as outlined by these thicker black lines. Now, digits cannot repeat on either diagonal. So you've got 2 diagonals here, a downward diagonal that I've just highlighted, an upward diagonal that I've also just highlighted, with a couple of extra cells that don't belong to it, and these must also be unique. And because they are all 9 cells, that means also the digits 1 to 9 on the diagonals. We also have last set of rule sets, which is the crop key dots. Digits separated by a white dot must be consecutive, and I happen to be sitting on the only one on the grid, so it's a bit of a shame we've got a 1 in here. Let me just pick something other than my usual 2. 5. No. 7. No. Now, come on. Surely I can find a digit that's just not going to conflict with anything. Forget the fact there are any other digits in the grid. Let's just go with 6. Which means this could potentially be a 5 or a 7 because it must be consecutive when it comes to the white digits. Ignore the fact that there's a 5 above it distinguishing between the two. We also have a black dot, which must be in a 2 to 1 ratio. So down here, if I place, for example, that's a terrible thing, but I'll go with the 2 anyway. I ran out of ideas. So to be with it on a black dot, you need to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. That could be a 1, repeating this 1 and repeating this 2, ignore that, or a 4, and that would be a valid pencil mark had we not had any Sudoku rules. So 2 to 1 ratio, consecutive digits, terrible examples, both of them. Last thing to mention is not all dots are given. So having a 2 and a 1 here doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have a black dot or a white dot between them to actually qualify. So if you want to celebrate Fibonacci Day a day late, I may add, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So this seems almost to be predominantly about Sudoku, which is so unusual for us to be doing like a Sudoku puzzle on this channel, but ones can be down here. Let's have a think. Ones is in here on the diagonal, removing the 1 from there. That's the 1. That's a 1. Thank you. Ones are neither of these. Remember, no ones on the diagonal. That's a 1. That's not a 1. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's all the ones done. Can we repeat this with the 2s? Almost certainly not, looking at the fact we only have 2 of them. 2s are in here in box 2. 2s are in there. Let's try that again. 2s are in there in box 3. That doesn't look hugely useful. Shall we ignore the 2s for a moment? Let's ignore the 2s for a moment. 3s, maybe that's a bit more fruitful. 3s, yeah, we can place a 3. We can kind of corner pencil mark 3s here. Not necessarily there. Well, I hope that this is indeed a bit more solvable than what I'm doing here, but 3s, not so obvious anyway. 4s, almost certainly more obvious. Yeah, we can place a 4. We can restrict the 4 in here. 4s, actually, here's something. 1, 2, 4, I don't know why I didn't spot this earlier, are all looking at this. So this is not 1, 2, 4, or 8. This is 3, 6. Am I going to go through my normal lengthy explanation of why this is 3, 6? Yes, I will. Of course I will. So, on a black crop key dot, the only digits that you can ever have on it is 1, 2, 4, or 8. Essentially, these are the powers of 2, 3, or 6, and that's it. You do have the remaining digits 5, 7, and 9 that can never be on a black crop key dot. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 divided by 2 is not an integer number, so discount them. The fact that I've got 1, 2, and 4 all looking at this crop key dot means it cannot be from 1 to 4, 8. Yes, I can place an 8, but what's its partner if it's not 4? Sorry about this. Let me just pause a second. Right, sorry about that. Right, so I was saying this is not 4, 8. This is 3, 6. Does it make 3s any more interesting again? Kind of, puts 3 in here, and 3 can't be on the diagonal. So 3 is on the white crop key dot and the black crop key dot, and it can't be 3, 4, it's 3, 2. That's the only way we can fill these two. It's gone very quickly though. So the only thing that we got left really is diagonals and Sudoku. So hopefully that will get us far today. Kind of back doing threes just because I can actually. So let's, I did mention the diagonals must have all of the digits 1 to 9 on them. So this diagonal here, this negative diagonal, well, 3s are not in here because I've already placed it. 3s are not in there, I've already placed it. 3 must be in one of these 3 cells now, so I can have one on the diagonal. Well, it's not this cell. It's not that cell. That's the 3. That's a 6 now. That's a 3. That's not a 3. That's a 3. I think I've done all the 3s, yeah. And we kind of went to a bit of a, I don't want to say a spiral, I think that would be the wrong word, but we sort of went on a bit of a journey when we were thinking about 4s actually. And it feels like I am almost done with 4s. There isn't really a lot more I can do. I mean, 4s is in here. Yeah, it's just, kind of my rule of thumb is I'm really only ever going to do pencil marks of groups of 3. 2, ideally. 3 if they're on the same row or column. I'm not really going to do anything else than that because it really plays like a normal Sudoku. And, at this point, I know we've got 3 in here, but they're not in the same column or the same row. So I am going to ignore it for now. 5s, maybe. Yeah, we've got a 5 in here. Fives on these two. Right, is that all the 5s? Interesting. And 5s in here, I ignored the diagonal because there is a 5 on it already. No 5s on this diagonal. And no 5s in here because of this 5. That's got to be a 5. Places a 5 in box 8, places a 5 in box 9. And that's nearly all the 5s done except for these two, isn't it? Looks like it. Okay. We've only got the one digit that is a 6 that we placed. 8s, this is a nice easy placement. That's the only place for an 8. These are the 8s. We're rapidly running out of things that we can potentially place, so we're going to have to use more advanced techniques, it seems, soon enough. 8s in one of these two. Kind of same sort of story with this diagonal. That's not available. This is not available. This is not available. This is not available. This is the only place for an 8 on the negative diagonal. Yeah, so that's kind of that restricted to here. Therefore, that's not an 8, which is a shame because it doesn't help me then with the 4s. That's an 8. And I was going to say I haven't got an 8 on this diagonal. And that is actually a true statement. But let me just finish placing an 8 in box 7, which is in here. I need an 8 on the positive diagonal. And it's not in this box. It's not in this box. It can only be in box 5. And I think that's all the 8s done. I haven't eliminated any options for the 5s, so I'm not going to revisit that. I may want to have a quick look at the 2s again, just in case I was able to place anything on the off chance. Because I didn't really even pencil mark a lot of them, so here is hoping. Yeah, I'm still not sure I'm placing many of them. Any trick with the diagonal? Kind of. Because the positive diagonal, this is not available. It's one of these two. It's not hugely helpful, if I'm honest. If I can sort of restrict what's going on with 2s in this place, because it's still in 3 spots, which is not brilliant. It is what it is. Let's move on. We've got to think about digits we've basically not placed. So this will be interesting. So 5, 6, and 7 in here. That's not a 5. I need a 2 and a 9 on either side. And unfortunately, they're both still available. I think they are both still available. I mean, 9s is definitely in here as well. So one of these is a 9. Which means... think this through before you say it, Sleuth. This is definitely just 2, 9. Like I'm sort of almost thinking this is a 2, 9 pair, and this is something else. This is like 6 and 7. But I don't think that's true. I can place a 9 in here, a 2 in here, a 6 or 7 there. So it might look that way, but no, it isn't. Right. Have I missed a trick with the 2s? Kind of really persisting on this one because it just feels so strange. Oh yeah, 4s. I sort of ignored the 4s. Maybe I have missed something with them. No 4s. That's a 2, 4 now. Four is restricted to here. How did I know that? It's not on the diagonal. So it almost doesn't matter where 4 is in here. In fact, it does matter. I can place it. 4 on the negative diagonal again. It's not this spot. It's not in here. It's got to be in there. It's not this one because it can be seen by Sudoku. So that's a 4. That's a 4 in here. I kind of did it the other way around because I saw that this is not a 4 and therefore I needed 1 in this column and deduce it must be in one of these. Long way of doing it for sure. So with all of these 4s, am I any closer to thinking about 2s yet and solving those? Not really. I say all of these 4s. I haven't actually placed that many. Well, this is 6, 7, 9. I haven't really restricted the 2s much. Just kind of the reason I went down this whole route entirely. I will move on from 4s in a second, but actually before I do so, I'm going to think about diagonals for a second. So let's think about the negative diagonal first. I needed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are all placed. The remaining digits are 6, 7, and 9. I imagine because we've not really placed a lot of them, they're going to keep appearing often. And then I have a 6, 7, 9, another 6, 7, 9. I need another kind of like 6, 7, 9, or a 2 on the positive diagonal. This is still allowed to be a 2. So this is 2, 6, or 7 because we've got a 9. And this is 2, 6, or 7. We've got a 9. Not many revelations here, are there? We've done all the 8s? No, we haven't. There we go. Now we've done all the 8s. Okay, so the 2s and 4s are kind of like the twist to actually solving this, but what I'm going to just go around is just looking for any obvious things we can fill in. Like this 2, 9. Maybe it's time to think about 9s. I actually haven't really thought about 9s. We have placed a digit here. can see why we didn't really think about 9s. So I guess this is another 267. This is another 267. This is going to be just not very helpful. And 5s. Have I not really solved the 5s? Where are 5s in here? That's not a 5. That is a 5. That's not a 5. That's the 5. That's a 6-7 pair. And another 6-7-9, of course. Surely we're going to run out of these in a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm being a bit slow right now. I'm missing something. 2, 6, 7. In the middle, we've placed almost everything except 2. So it's 2, 6, 7, 9. So that is everything. And with the exception of this not being 2, we're back to 6, 7, 9s. And we're still with 2, 6, 7, 9. So I'm kind of thinking, no, let me just pause a second and see what I can do, rather than just randomly pencil mark the entire grid and see nothing. Really does seem to be down to the 2s and 4s to kind of force everything. And if I can just make this a 2-9 pair, or resolve this 2-9 pair, can I do any of that? I've used the diagonals. So essentially I am gonna carry around scanning the grid, looking for sort of that next break-in, but I'm not going to pencil mark anymore. And I'm going to delete that because it had an 8 in it when it shouldn't have. I was clearly making mistakes, and it's not adding much at this point. It really is just slowing me down, I think. So 7, 9, 6, 7, 9, 6, 7, 9. 6, 7, 9s with a 2. Why is that a 2? Sleuth. So that's 6, 7. That's again 6, 7. Well, there you go. That's not a 4. That's 6, 7, 9. That's a triplet. That's a 4. I say there you go, and then it adds 0 value, like 0. So we're back to triplets, and we're sort of even again with the 2 4s. And this is a 4 with a 6, 7, 9, of course. So this is 4, 7, 9. Makes a bit of a change. I'll tell you what, I think I've just over pencil marked. I've either over pencil marked or I made an error in my solution earlier and it's getting me stuck. Both are entirely plausible issues. This 6, that's not a 6, that's not a 6, that's now 2 or 7. 6 is definitely in one of these two now. And a 6, and a 6, okay. 6 is only at the top in here. That's not a 6. That is a 6. This triplet is not very helpful. This is 7 or 9 now in the column. Right, maybe it is time to think about diagonals. So The 2, for whatever reason, I wasn't really able to resolve. I think we almost want to know what this is. It's not 6 again. That's a 7-9 pair. So that's not 7. That's not 7. 7-9, 7-9. That's a 6. That's a 2. That's a 9. That's a 2. That's a 7. That's a 6. So looks like it was just poor pencil marking on my part that just slowed me right down. I just totally ignored this 6 for a while for some reason. No good reason for it though either. No, undo. I meant to. Yeah, thank you. And this is now 2 or 4. And I'll leave the corner pencil mark. Not sure how helpful that is. That's 6 or 7. Oh, the 2 is placed. That's now a 6. And the diagonals are done. It's just straightforward. I say straightforward. I made it seem extremely difficult. Sudoku. I need a 2 and a 9. That 2 is here. That's the 9. That's a 7. That's another 2, 4. In fact, I had a 2 looking at that for a while, maybe? Who knows? And therefore, that's a 9. And that's the 4. The 2. We must have finished the 2s and 4s by now, surely. Yes, we have. That's not a 6. That's a 7 or 9 again. I'm going to say it's actually resolved. That's a 7. That's a 9. I'm just ignoring that 9. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's a 9. I need 6 and 7 in here. They're in this order because of this 6, 7. That 2 is placed. That's a 9 to finish the column. I need 6 and 7 in here. That's 6. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's 7. So I think it's a lovely celebration of Fibonacci, despite how I sort of made it seem so much harder than it really was. That really should have been more like a 15-minute solve or under. If it wasn't for the fact that I ignored the 6 for so long. And once you don't ignore the 6, the rest of it just moves forward very quickly. Lovely puzzle, Jobo. Thank you for posting it. Thank you for actually being punctual and posting it in Fibonacci Day. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. And see you back for the next one. Bye for now.